Hello, everyone. So we are now in the last section of topic 2 for this year. So topic 2, section 6. And so we're going to be focusing on the quadratic formula, which you have used before. And so if you remember it, it looks like x equals, and remember when we're solving quadratics, we're looking for the x-intercepts. So that's why it's x equals. So we're looking for the x-intercepts. And it is your negative b, so opposite sign of whatever b is in your equation, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, and that's all divided by 2a. So a quick reminder that when we're looking at quadratics, we are going to be looking at the standard form. So a times x squared plus b times x plus c. So this is the quadratic that you would be given. When we're solving, we make the y or f of x 0, and then we just plug in. So a, whatever your value is for a, you plug it in here and here. Whatever your b value is, you plug it in here and here. And then whatever your c value is, you plug in here. So really, what you're doing is like plugging and then just solving it. And so for this first example we're going to first start by identifying what a, b, and c are. So a in this case is 3. So a equals 3. B is this negative 4. So b is negative 4. And then c is negative 9. So again, the first step, we just identified what a, b, and c are. I was able to jump to this step though because it's equal to 0. If it was not equal to 0, we would first have to do that. But since it's equal to 0, we can just start by identifying what a, b, and c are. And now we're just going to plug those in here. So we have x equals our negative, and then what b is. So b is negative, so sorry. Okay, so b is negative 4, and then we have our plus or minus the square root of b, so negative 4, and we square it, minus 4 times our a, which is 3, times our c, which is negative 9, and that's all divided by 2 times our a, which is 3. Okay, so again, we found our a value, which we said was 3, and that went here and here. We found our b value, which was negative 4, and that went here and here. And then our c value went here, just like our formula here. And so now we have this long equation, and we need to simplify it. So we're just going to start by going left to right on the top. So negative 4 would become positive 4. And then plus or minus. Negative 4 squared would be 16. And then negative 4 times 3 would be negative 12. Times negative 9 would make it a positive. And then 12 times 9 is 108. So we have that inside. And then 2 times 3 would be 6. And then we can do 16 plus 108. So we have 4 plus or minus 16 plus 108 would be 124. And that would all still be divided by 6. And so we still have two answers here because, again, we have that plus or minus. So we have 4 plus the square root of 124 divided by 6, or we have 4 minus the square root of 124 divided by 6. And so you're going to put this in your calculator. One thing to note is that you should, when you put it in your parentheses, if you put it in your calculator, you need to do parentheses around this and then divide by 6. So in your calculator, you would need to do parentheses 4 plus the square root of 124 and then divide by 6. If you don't put the parentheses in, it's going to do the square root of 124 divided by 6 first because of PEMDAS. So if you're going to put all of this in at once, you need to put parentheses around it. Or you can do 4 plus square root of 124, enter, and then divide by 6. When you do that, this top one should give you 2.52. And again, this one, same thing, put parentheses or do it in 2 steps. And you should get negative, oh my goodness, I don't know why it keeps doing that. I'm so sorry. Oops, too far now. So negative 1.19. And so our answer is x equals 2.52 and x equals negative 1.19. Okay, go ahead and pause it and then check your answers with these ones. So once you pause it and then you play it, the answers are just going to be there. I'm going to pause my video and write them in and then unpause. So pause it. So here's the first one. So A was 2, so it went in here and here. And B was 6, and so that went here and here. And C was 3. And then I just went ahead and simplified. And so our two answers are the negative 0.6 and the negative 2.4. So now go ahead and pause and try the second one if you haven't already. Okay, again, A was 3, so that went here and here. B was negative 2, and so that went here and here. And then C was 7, so that went here. So simplifying it down, you get a negative 80 in your square root. So this negative 80 here in the square root, if you type it into your calculator, it'll say error, and that is because you can't take the square root of a negative. And so that negative inside the square root tells you there is no real solutions. With that being said, pause the video if you need this up longer. I'm going to move down. We are skipping example 2. So we're going to be scrolling down here. We're skipping this. I'm not going to be doing it. And we're also skipping these, sorry, we're not skipping those. If you would like additional practice, you are more than welcome to do those. I'm not going to cover them in this video. But if you go down to example 3, that is what we're going to be looking at next. So example 3 is just saying that there's a part of the quadratic called the discriminant. So remember, the whole thing for the quadratic is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root a b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2 times a. And so the discriminant is the inside of that square root. So right there. And so you can know how many solutions you'll have. So like whether you'll have no solutions, 2 solutions, and there's also a case of having just one where it just touches on the x-axis and then goes back up. So you can look at just the discriminant and decide how many solutions there are. So this is just an example and a visual. And so on this one, we can see that it touches the x-axis twice. So this would have 2 real solutions. And so when there's 2 real solutions, your discriminant, the b squared minus 4 times a times c, should be greater than, so this should be greater than 0. So when you type in all this, so in this case, if I did it, it would be, let's see, let's just do a green, something that we haven't been using. So if I did it, my b is -7, so I would do -7 squared minus 4 times my a, which is 2, and times my c, which is 3. And so -7 squared would be 49. And then 4 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. And so this right here would be 25, and that is bigger than 0, so there would be 2 real solutions. And then this next one, we can see that it just touches once, so there's 1. And if you do the discriminant, it would be equal to 0. So I'll do it up here. We have b squared, which would be 12 squared minus 4 times our a, which is 4, times our c, which is 9. And so this would actually become 144 minus 144, which is just 0. So it comes down, touches, goes back up, or it goes up, touches, goes back down, if it was an upside down U. And then this one over here is what we kind of saw up above. If it does not touch the x-axis at all, there is no real solutions. So no real solutions. And that is when it is less than 0. And we saw that up above when we were just looking at it up here. So we had a negative number, so it was less than 0. So then there was no real solutions. So go ahead and pause the video, try these 2 right here by just finding the discriminant. So just doing the b squared minus 4 times a times c. Just plug in those parts and see what you get. So pause it and try it. So here's the first one. I plugged in b, a, and c there, and I got 64 minus 64, which is 0. So this would be my discriminant. My discriminant is 0, and that means there is 1 real solution. Then go ahead and do the same thing with the next one. All right, and so then this one, again, b was -5, so -5 squared is 25. And then we did -4 times our a, which was 2, times our c, which was 6, and that over there became -48. 25 minus 48 is -23. So my discriminant equals -23, which is less than 0, and so there are no real solutions. So some questions might just ask you what the discriminant is, and so then you would just give this answer or this one. Just saying the discriminant is whatever value you get. And then it might say, what does the discriminant tell you? And that would be this part here where it's like 1 solution, 2 solutions, no real solutions. So those are on 2 different ways of seeing it. So it might just say, what is the discriminant? And it might say, what does the discriminant tell you? So this is the discriminant and this is what it tells you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.